With YouTube demonetizing independent media, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and we're going to be talking about Thanos one more time. I did my video yesterday about how I feel Thanos is the best villain in the MCU, and I loved his motivations. I felt that it really worked for the character on screen, and how basically Thanos was basically the main character of Avengers Infinity War. Everyone else kind of played around him, obviously, but he clearly was the main driving force for the plot of that film. And I thought it was fantastic, and I can't wait to see what they do with the next one. But not everyone looked at it the same way I did. Not everyone is going to have the same take I did. There's going to be some hot takes, some spicy takes, and I just want to talk about this because holy shit, Polygon, what are you doing? This is okay. I just want to start by saying I'm not a Ben Kuchera fan. Ben Kuchera is a gigantic spazoid. No one likes him, even in gaming. Yet he still hangs around Polygon because he writes trash like this, where he says, Avengers Infinity War suffers from a huge plot hole. Not really. Not in the context of which he's referring to. So he starts off by saying, this is also, by the way, spoilers, right? So why Thanos is collecting the Infinity Stones. Okay, this is something you learn over the process of the film. So Thanos is a Titan, and he watched his homeworld die due to lack of natural resources. There were too many people, but not enough food to feed everyone. His solution was simple, fair, and brutal. He would kill half the population by random drawing. The rich and the poor alike would be killed according to chance, and the rest of the population would have a chance to live in a world of plenty. The other Titans didn't go with the plan. We don't really find out what happened next, but Thanos' planet is burnt, or is a burnt out husk by the time we visit it in the film. In Infinity War, Thanos is on a mission to scour the galaxy and destroy half of all life to make sure no one has to go without. He's done so by traveling from planet to planet with his army and children of Thanos, but he could save a lot of time and energy by collecting the Infinity Stones and literally snapping his fingers to get the work done for him. It's a solution to a problem only he sees, or as he points out, one only he has the will to take responsibility for. So a culling of the herd, that's what he's talking about. That type of mentality is nothing new. I think I mentioned this in my review of the movie, but it kind of falls in line with our current population on the planet. There's lots of people that say that we're overpopulated because, you know, our world population doubled from 3 billion to 6 billion from 1979 until 1999. We're now about 7.5 billion people, estimated to hit 9 billion by 2050. In fact, birth rates are slowing down, but there's still a lot of mouths to feed. So there's people I'll talk about that kind of crap all the time. So that's essentially what Thanos is up to. Now we get into the part that I just find to be so, like, instead of looking at it from his perspective, the plot hole that Ben Kuchera here is arguing about is not a plot hole. It's one that Kuchera's politics wants him to follow, but it's not a plot hole. So it says here, Thanos had another choice. The Infinity Stones make Thanos more or less omnipotent. He's in control of everything by the end of Infinity War, including time itself. Yet he spends the most part lamenting his choice he has to make and the heavy toll it's exacting on his soul. Because in his mind, he's making the sacrifice. In his mind, he's the one making the hard choices and the choices that directly impact him that he has to then do in order to see his mission through. By this point, he's become so obsessed with it that he's not going to change his mind. He's not going to change anything. He's quite literally determined to see this thing through, damn the cost. That was that whole line about when Gamora asked him, what are you going to do? And he's like, I will go and watch the sunset and finally, or the sunrise and finally rest. Because this is his crusade. This is his mission. This is what it's been. He can think of nothing else. That's why when the revelation for the Soul Stone happened, it was like, oh shit, he realized now what he had to do more than ever. And since he was so close, he did what he did. Right? Because that's where his mind is. But Kuchera doesn't really understand that, as Kuchera doesn't really understand lots of things. Now, but he does it anyway. Thanos snaps his fingers and half of all life in the universe is snuffed out. The film ends with Thanos watching the sunrise, a peaceful smile on his lips. But why? If he's in control of each aspect of existence at this point, why not spare everyone and just double the amount of food in the universe? Why not increase the amount of natural resources so that everyone can have enough water and shelter? Why kill trillions of life forms to save the rest when you can just snap your fingers and save everyone? But I don't know if it works that way. Yes, he's got control over time and space and reality, And he can, you know, manufacture some things possibly, but does he have the ability to double the resources on a planet? Does he have that ability to create that? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, maybe he could create a planet. I don't know. But at the same time, it's like he's not even remotely thinking about that. He's not even remotely wanting to think about that. His entire mission is about keeping it from happening again. Because here's the thing. Oh, let's double the resources. Let's double the resources for a second and give everyone what they need, right? Basically a socialist country, a socialist environment. What does that do? Well, when resources are aplenty, people start fucking. And when people start boning, babies start coming, the population then increases, it increases, and then they find themselves in this particular situation sooner rather than later, in which case, oh, am I just going to double the resources again and therefore keep this particular trend going that's going to eventually overpopulate a planet, or remove half the people, start over again, and go from there? There are reasons, like, and I don't agree with this plan, obviously, it's genocide, but at the same time, it's like there are like logistical reasons as to why he's doing what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's not like when, oh, we need to thin out the population of wolves because they're decimating the deers and it's creating an imbalance in the region. No, why don't we just bring in more deer, right? Like the wolves aren't, that's going to satiate the wolves for a while. It doesn't work that way. Like, that's not how life works. Sometimes a controlled burn is necessary. We see this in the redwood forests. We see this in other places. It's part of biology to keep things from overgrowing, and that's his entire motivation. Ben pushing for an altruistic response just pushes the buck down the road. It's not a solution. Neither is Thanos is, obviously. It does sound like I'm arguing in favor of eviscerating half of the population. I'm not, but I mean, like, in the context of the character's motivation, that's what I'm referring to. Now, the movie could go pretty differently if Thanos had just told Iron Man what his goal was, to use his power and wealth to provide for all of creation, because that's pretty much what Iron Man is trying to do on Earth anyway. The Avengers could still likely try to stop him. I don't think Captain America and the rest would be comfortable with having one having unlimited power, probably. But at the same time, none of that matters. You're like, oh, why didn't Thanos just tell him the plan? Why? Because he doesn't know this guy. He basically laid it out for Gamora. Gamora knew her entire life. Nebula knew her entire life. He's looking at Tony Stark going like, I know who you are, but man, I don't trust you. It's like such a weird thing. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. When the same argument could be applied to, let's say, The Last Jedi. Oh, why didn't Holdo tell Poe what she was up to? That would have made more sense in a logistical reason. This is not one of those times. The Mad Titan Thanos is not going to sit there and talk to Tony Stark and be like, oh yeah, let me fill you in, T-Star. Let me tell you, let me fill you into what I'm up to. It doesn't work that way. It's so ridiculous. Ben Kuchera is such a progressive that, like, this is the type of thing. He's like, oh, but it's a huge plot hole, people. It's not a huge plot hole. And of course he goes on. Well, he says here, it's not that Thanos' motivation doesn't make any sense, but his solution is completely nonsensical. Is it? I think I just kind of pointed out it's passing the buck versus, you know, cutting the buck in half. Why kill everyone when you can just as easily provide for them? This would even give him a reason to collect the Infinity Stones, because he can't create food or resources that don't exist in the universe. He can only kill people to relieve the tension. But he could provide it by bending reality to his will with the Infinity Gauntlet and making more of anything. Getting the stones together would allow him to stop killing and save everyone. Why not take the path of most resistance, or why take the path of most resistance and kill so many people? Because he's gone on the mass crusade of culling. He's already culled people from planet to planet to planet to planet to planet. He's already killed half the population. Why stop? That's just like, oh, why not all of a sudden, once you collect all the stones, you know, you just become Gandhi, right? You just become Gandhi or Mother Theresa. Like, it doesn't work that way. That's the whole point of the journey of Thanos, is that in the movie, his journey is that. And of course he goes on to talk about the whole Thanos in the comics had a character goal, and the whole thing there, of course, with trying to attract, basically, death. He's trying to court death. And that was a line that was said, I think in Avengers, the end of Avengers, to mess with them basically is to court death. And that was a line, but that's kind of been omitted from this. Although maybe not. We'll learn more. They said all plot holes are going to be, or all plot little threads are going to be explained in the next, in these next movies. So that could be a thing too. But ultimately, Kuchera doesn't understand Thanos' mission here. Obviously, it deviates from the comics for right now, but trying to say, why doesn't he just become a good guy? The dude is the Mad Titan Thanos. He has murdered people. He's committed genocide. He brutally kills. If you think all of a sudden he's just going to stop and go like, fooled you. You guys only thought I was a genocidal maniac. I'm really just a soft old teddy bear. I did what I had to do, but now I have to live with the consequences. I mean, it's not the way this works. It's not the way you make a good villain. That's not the way you make a good villain. The villain in this case was excellent because Thanos was able to convey, I guess you could say, sensitivity about it. He was able to convey a soft underbelly. You understood his motivations. You understood why he was doing what he was doing. To pose the question of, well, why didn't he just save everybody? Defeats the purpose of the war. Defeats the purpose of the plot. It's not a plot hole because you don't like the narrative. All right, like it's a plot hole that Leia got sucked out into space and then was able to Mary Poppins her way back in because there was no prior context to explain that. That's a plot hole. This is not a plot hole. This is you basically trying to use your platform on Polygon to write a goddamn fan fiction. Stop it, Ben. Just stop in general because no one likes you. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. I am curious to know your thoughts. Do you think Ben is right? Do you think Ben is wrong? Do you think I'm right? Am I wrong? Where do you stand on this? Let me know in the comments. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Theater. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, support it via Patreon, and if you want to watch more from me, you can do so, well, right now.